All right, so good morning, people. How are we doing today? How's it been? I know it's been a minute. For those who have been following the investing series, thank you for staying tuned. I hope that it is adding some value to your thoughts around investing and building your personal financial structure, that ensures that you're able to, over the years, build wealth. Like we have established at the beginning of this series, that uh, building wealth is a generational thing, which means that it starts with you, but may not end with you, which means you have to also prepare the next generation to um, be ready to carry on the task of expanding your territories. It means that, of course, you have some work to do to build the foundations, especially if your parents have not done that for you. You can be the difference maker in your lineage. And that is why we have been discussing a few ways to approach the world of investing. And of course, setting the structure in place so that you don't shoot yourself in the foot or get stuck in the get rich quick schemes that a lot of people often get stuck in. So today I wanted to further the conversations about investing in stock market. In the last two videos, I talked about the importance of doing your own research. And today I wanted to talk about different types of stocks that you can invest in. Now I'm not going to go over the full list. I'm just going to focus on the ones um, that are most relevant to your cost. So the first is obviously dividend paying stocks. A lot of people, so someone asked me some days ago if when dividends are paid, does it reduce your stake in the company? And, I had to explain that dividends are like your reward for being part of the company. Being a shareholder of a company gives you certain privileges, like you can share in the profits of the company, you can share in the decision making of the company. You're part of the structure that runs the company. And so it is, so dividend stocks, means that these are companies that are well established that pay you a portion of their profit as a reward for being part of the company. And this is something that is common with mostly the blue chip stocks, those old companies who have stood the test of time, who are still here after operating for a very long time. They have their profits well defined, and every year they tend to declare a portion of that to be shared to their shareholders. Now, the advantage of having dividend paying stocks is the fact that it is passive income. So you really don't have to do anything than just hold shares in that company. And that is an advantage because you don't have to work. That's your money working for you. And that's why, I always say that when you're building your stock portfolio, you need to have these different types of stock in your portfolio so that you can have passive income while also hoping for future growth, because there are certain companies that their stock prices don't change much over the years, maybe because they've reached a level of growth that doesn't provide room for more expansive growth, but they pay you. I think examples of that is some of the banking stocks in Nigeria. Nestle, for example, is also another one that pays dividends. And then most of the oil and gas companies, Seplat and all the others, also pay dividends. And so it's important to, of course, look into your stock portfolio and decide how much of your stock allocations do you want to put into dividend paying stocks. The idea here is to generate residual or passive income so that you don't have to necessarily work to generate that income. Now, another type of stock that is common is the growth stock. Now, growth stocks are companies that are on the rise. So naturally, as they grow, their stock prices too will grow with them. Now, generally, I think it makes sense when you target companies that are, well, generally, when you target companies that are recently listed and, finding some price level and discovery to get, because also when you're doing your research, you will find companies that tend to look undervalued. So, for example, there's certain companies that when you look at the level they're operating at. Of course, there are certain terms that are used for that, but I don't want to get all technical and confuse us. So I'm just going to keep it as simple as possible. Now, there are certain metrics that you look at that tells you if a stock is undervalued or overvalued, and I think hopefully we'll talk about that a little bit down the line. But the point here is that these growth stocks are there are companies that are doing really well. They're still growing companies or fast growing companies for that matter, or they're companies that come into their season. So, of course, this ties closely with seasonal or what will I call it now? Um, with cyclical stocks. So, cyclical stocks are those stocks that they have their season when they are most when they give their best gains. And so I would, like I said before, advise you to have different. There are also some that are called defensive stock. Now, these stocks are usually not cyclical, so it means that like a um, they have like a permanence in their prices, not changing too much, but they're there when the rest of the market is going down. For example, they maintain their levels or even go up. Now, the idea is first, like I said, you need to research the companies to be sure that you are aligned or they are aligned with your values, because that will determine how connected you will be with everything the company is doing. Remember that it's important to keep this in mind, because when you are connected to the company, you make better decisions overall, because it becomes a lot easier for you to be able to do the work that is required, read their financial statements, follow the news that is going on about them and all of those things, because all these things determine to a large extent how the stock can perform. So, for example, when a news comes out about a certain company, if it's bad news, obviously it means that that company, is going to lose value of their shares. So, for example, a friend of mine asked, what if there's a company that has a very big market share, but their share prices has been dropping for several years, and is there a chance that they might recover? And my answer to that is simple. If you look at the reason for the share drop, is it that so he said that there's been obviously mismanagement on the part of those running the company, and that's a big red flag, because if the company is being repeatedly mismanaged, it's only a matter of time before that company goes under, and so you also need to look at things like the management structure, the management team of the company you're interested in, because this will give you an idea if these are visionaries, if these are people who are capable of producing results. If you don't know that, it means that if the news comes out that the CEO of the company you're holding their shares, is involved in one criminal activity or the other, you will not know what to do, or maybe you may not even be aware of the news until the damage has been done. Yeah, so that is why it's important for you to be align in values, because it then makes it easier for you to look at those running the company and decide if they align with your value system. And those things will then determine whether you want to pick that name or go with another one. Yeah, so like I said, you want to have a mixture of growth stocks, dividend paying stocks, in your portfolio, because then it gives you the best of both worlds. So when the share prices grow, you get something. And then when, of course, dividends are paid, you also get something, and that is your money working for you, because the essence of investing is to be able to let your money work for you, just as you have worked for the money. So we'll continue in the next video. Have a wonderful one. Thank you.